everybody, welcome to another video here. Brian from quantlabs.net. More questions keep coming in about Oanda. I'm going to probably stop it after this. I don't want to keep thinking that I'm some Oanda basher. So I'm going to wrap it up with this. There's 3 videos I put up. The first one that went up was this brutally honest opinions of forex brokers like LMAX, Oanda, FXCM, Dukas copies. Somebody else then followed up with a letter from the CEO explaining their situation versus the recent FXCM fiasco. So questions and comments keep coming in, but I'm going to respond to a few. Now, since I've redesigned the site, in here you won't find any knowledge-based FAQ sections anymore. Just took it out just because. So whatever. Anyways, the most recent question I got was, hey Brian, I live in the USA. I'm interested in Oanda. I have 2 questions. One, do you still recommend them? And my answer is absolutely no. I'll give you some solutions. I've heard good things and bad things. Focus on the bad things. Save yourself some money and all that. I'm a scalper. That might be another problem. And I know they are FNFA regulated. Okay, and then there's some other questions or really comments coming up to this one. This is what we call keyboard warrior retarded people that don't really watch these videos in full. So this is the attitude I usually deal with pretty well, coming up on a near daily basis, and I'm just trying to focus more on positive stuff, but this is the attitude that you get. So they answer your ticket. So what it comes back to is I'll give you an idea. They answered one stupid question on a ticket that I had concerning the technology, which is pretty bad. But depending upon this is pertaining to Oanda. So one of the huge issues that I had with Oanda and still do, and I have not heard anything. I asked about the API, where can I get some working copies of something in Python. Nothing seemed to work. The GitHub is just, the repository on the GitHub's like very confusing, and even gets more confusing with the only one-line answer I got out of them was, please kindly confirm that you are calling V3 API endpoint as opposed to V1. Your V2 count only works on and that's, what does that mean? Like I couldn't figure anything out. There's no follow-up. I couldn't understand that, and this is why in my mind Oanda's trash and it's garbage. If they can't follow up on questions like this when they confuse the already confusing question, this was the response I got. So I followed up, heard nothing since, and there we are, end of discussion on Oanda. Garbage broker. So it comes back to the first question. Do I recommend them if you're trying to use them with automation and APIs? Absolutely not. If you're just doing by discretionary, maybe they're okay. I can't comment on their market making. They were honest when they went through the Swiss bank fiasco, when the Swiss National Bank depegged from the euro. They survived it because they had proper risk management. Now, the company of Oanda has been recently sold. If you watch this video, you'll see how I show a Twitter account has not been updated since 2015. Maybe that's changed since then. I don't know. There was this letter from the CEO, which just proves he's a complete moron. And yeah, so I don't recommend them at all for automation. I don't know if they're scalper friendly. I don't know any brokers that really are. Now, coming back to this thing about this API business, I can tell you on both interactive brokers, FX works fine. It's fairly easy to understand, but you want my opinion, if you are living outside of the US, I would probably, if you're learning, go with Dukas Copy. They've been pretty good. They've answered every single question. I've gotten somebody senior now at Dukas Copy. They seem to really care about the queries and queries that do come in. And I'm not even officially signed up with Duke's Copy, but here with Oanda, I was a customer and still am technically, and they are pretty crappy. And enough of that. So if you're looking for a better broker, you would better off to go with Duca's Copy. And again, if you watch both these videos, the big thing you want to look for with a lot of these brokers is your currencies. If you have better currency selection, namely Turkish lira, Russian ruble, the rand from South Africa, you're better off as a forex trader because you'll get more volatility in those currencies, which mean you can make more money if you know how to do it properly from an automation point of view. So that's the key difference between what I'm seeing between the European brokers versus the American brokers. Okay, or I should say Canadian as well with Oanda. So that's important. Oanda doesn't offer any of those other exotic currencies, so that's another reason why they dump them. Again, in terms of scalping, I don't know any broker that is. There's probably some crappy, questionable brokers that may allow you to do it, but why would you go them? You're going to lose your money anyways. So, again, you do get the occasional idiot retail trader who will try to argue that down, and it's unfortunate because they're probably losing a lot of money, and they'll try to convince you otherwise. But from my experience, I wouldn't go that route. But anyways, that's my belief. So let's talk specifically about this guy here, these questions here. Okay, so in this video here, Oanda like FCM trash, forex not to be trusted. Here this guy attacked in the comments without obviously fully watching. Now, so they say you answer your ticket quickly, going back to here. What bad things could you say about them? This is the first comment from the person, so I ignored that because it was fully explained here and fully explained here. This guy just probably watched 1 minute of the video and just decided to spew his mouth first before even fully understanding everything. So I ignore questions like that anyways. And then 2 days later, unsubscribe, boo hoo hoo, I've lost a viewer. Ooh. I'm gonna live 3 days plus without responding to my question. Applying your own logic, that would make you just as bad as you would accuse Oanda of. Well, to this moron, I'm now specifically answering his through video. He probably won't get it anyways because he's unsubscribed. So I don't have time to answer every person's question because I get people asking me about homework stuff and I don't have time for it. I only move forward on my own stuff. I have a Facebook page, group, all for those kind of queries, including LinkedIn, and I no longer answer specific questions regarding this, and even if I did, I would do a webinar around it. Most people won't show up anyways, so I don't have time for it, neither will I address it, and I hate to say it, nor do I care. Alright, so that's pretty well Oanda and the final nail in the coffin with them. If you want to go with them, that's up to you. Now let's talk about solutions as I talked about here in this video. Now, yeah, I do bash Oanda, and I have in the past and will continue. I don't want to say continue bashing FXCM. I think their days are numbered anyways because they got banned by the NFA or whatever. So knowing that, what are your solutions? Well, there's two better brokers to go with. As I mentioned, Duca's Copy is pretty good. I'm still kind of questioning Duca's Copy as a whole, from what I understand, with the Duca's Copy Europe, which is out of Latvia, and Duca's Copy out of Switzerland, which is regulated by the Swiss government. So if you have 5,000 euro, or I'm not sure it's 5,000 Swiss franc, go with the Swiss side of Duca's Copy because you're now protected under the Swiss government, which is pretty good, I guess, if that's true. So if you got 5,000 euros, that's probably, or Swiss franc, that's probably the best option. Duca's Copy is really good on the API front with their J4X. I've worked with it. I kind of like it. I figured another way to hide my trading logic and strategy logic, and remove that out of the environment of Dukas copy using JForex. So I'm basically offloading the analysis, offloading the trading logic outside of JForex. So the only thing JForex and Dukas copy will get are my orders. And I've also figured ways to do stop losses virtually through the software when I offload it. So that way, even if they were to watch my, or what they call stop loss hunting, they can try. They won't get very far because my stop losses will be virtually built into the offloaded trading logic using Python. So basically what I'm doing is I've got the strategy, it's embedded in the JForex software, and then I use a database, or actually flat files, to have my trading scripts built in Python, build the analysis, and then send signals back to JForex for the execution using socket programming. So that's how I'm moving forward with that, even though living in the ultimate paranoid world of Dukas copy. Now, I'm not saying that Dukas copy do or don't do this thing called stop hunting, and even if they try, it won't be very effective to them, because I'm not going to signal back to the broker that I'm doing this stop loss. And yes, you do need to do stop losses, but you also need to do it virtually and not let your broker know about that. So Dukas copy is good. Now, as I said earlier, Dukas copy is not yet open for the US market. Now, under Trump, they may repeal, I think they already have repealed the Dodd-Frank, and that may remove a lot of the regulation for the finance field, which means they may go back into the US, which would be good. So that would be something exciting to look forward to. Now, for Americans, LMAX is another broker, as you can see here. They are market neutral, meaning that's what they claim. Now, I don't know if they do market making. I don't think they do, because they're more like an exchange. So basically, I think they're going to have liquid providers providing the market making. But I do know under LMAX, they're very strict on their algorithms, or algorithms that are part of their exchange. They don't like predatory algorithms, which mean I do believe you need to get your algo looked at by LMAX before you can submit it into the exchange, which is actually good for protection for everybody. Also, they also have the same selection of currencies as Dukas copy do, which is good. The only dilemma is you need 10,000 local based currency to fund the account. So if you're American, you need 10,000 US dollars, which I'm not ready to do, because I just don't want to tie it up and just sitting there. So I'd rather play in the world of Dukas copy, play it safe, and then build up an account from there, and then move into probably for forex LMAX, and then eventually move into futures and options with interactive brokers, because that's what I'm looking at doing. Okay, so that's pretty well it. I want to try to keep everything positive around here. So yeah, Oanda's not recommended. I fully explained my theory on Oanda. Is it good or bad, and why, and actually having some solutions and why, with a rationale behind those solutions. Okay, so let's focus on the positive now. But I just wanted to give you the typical examples that I go through on people's attitudes and whatever. But that's their own business, not mine, and nor do I care about them. Later.